one way.
I introduced the sign language to the siblings just at the same time as I learnt it. I think Kira was about 9 months and I went on a course and came back and said, I've done this course, this is what we're going to do, we're going to have fun with this. And they picked it up instantly, as children do, and just everything was just great fun. They all know the sign language, and in fact they keep me on my toes because it's, Mum, how do you say this? Mum, you're not doing that sign right. So yes, they keep me totally on my toes, and I've got books with the signs in it that they can just go and look up the signs.
Right from the start we signed with Lily, and before we adopted her we learnt sign language, and she really took to that, and that was a real positive thing probably when she was about 2 and started using signing, because rather than people thinking that poor handicapped child, which I guess is what we might have expected, they thought, what a cute and clever little girl that there she is signing, which a lot of other children can't do. And so when that language began and she could communicate with us, I think it was almost then that she really came into her own and became Lily rather than that child we've been adopting and planning for and were moulding into our child. And in fact now we had this little girl who was herself.
We use everything that we possibly can, but that communication is vital. Communication in the home, spread it to communication on the street, teach the children on the street how to sign so that your child can communicate with them. And they overcome, they don't see the disability, they see the person. They see little Johnny or Mary who's playing with them. And that breaks down huge barriers.
I'll push the tree, you make the sound, okay? My turn? Okay. Tree, you. Right now, I think for Jack, probably his biggest, I mean, I'm just imagining what goes on, but I would imagine his biggest frustration has got to be his inability to communicate as much, because Jack has a lot to say. I mean, as I said before, he'll stand up and tell you these long stories, you know, and he's just going on and he's got all this stuff to say, but he has no words.
The other day, I shared with him that a good friend of his mother just had twins. And we were talking about, he's got some twins in his classroom at school, and the next thing I knew, he had 2 magazines, and they each had a baby in them, and he brought them, and he was kind of pointing 1, 2 little babies. I mean, so he can tell me that he knows, but and he has to be incredibly imaginative and inventive to communicate to us, and he's very good at it.
The thing that most parents are probably worrying about is developing spoken language. That the child will not have the communication skills of a typical child, and also be approaching the stage where they want more independence and their behaviour may be a bit more challenging. And of course the two things are interrelated. For a youngster who can't communicate as effectively as they might like to, we're more likely to have difficult behaviour. So my priorities at this stage would be very much to provide help for parents in showing them ways to try and develop more effective communication, with the target being learning to talk, but we would still be extensively using signs to help.
He's got to be frustrated because he's got so much to tell you, and we just look at him and smile, and he knows we don't understand. I feel sad and frustrated because he's got so much to tell us, and he can't do it, and I just don't know how to help him. So you feel helpless.
Bear. He's a baby, but what is he holding? Ball. Right. Jack's communication has really taken off, and not only is he vocalizing a lot more words and can say words that many people can recognize, not just his mother and father, but he combines now signing, his expressive face, and words, and so he really can start to tell you a story about something that he thinks. And when he looks at the book, he's no longer just identifying one picture, but he can start to tell you what's happening in the story. Or if his friend is sad, or if he is sad, even why they're sad, or that the dog is hungry and we need to feed the dog, or whatever. So adding the words is really exciting to us, but he does combine all these things so that he's got some vocal, out loud words with his signs, and then just kind of his general expressions. So it's really fun. He's kind of turned a corner.
What's in the fish tank? Oh my gosh. What's in the fish tank?
Horses!
There's a horse in there. How did he get in there?
Yeah!
What color is the horse?
What?
White.
Out!
Should we take him out?
Yeah. Shark!
A shark?
Yeah.
Tell me what you're going to do.
Fishes.
Feed?
Okay. Tibis. Bees.
Bees.
Hey, fishes.
So a year ago, Jack was really starting to use language, but 1 or 2 words at a time. And 12 months later, he's using 3, 4 words, often without prompting. He'll just come into the kitchen and ask for something, and totally ask what he wants to watch on television. And he acts out all of the plots in the different movies that he loves, or in the books. He finishes all the sentences in the books that he loves now. And he's very interested in talking like everybody else. Therapists always talk about that these things have to be tied to function, and that's totally true. I mean, it became important for Jack to be able to say, it's my turn, or let's play this, or I want to eat X and such. But I think function and desire and just maturing, and the therapists work on the breathing, but I think the biggest part is tying the language to what Jack wants and needs.
You know, Jack loves pancakes. And one morning we went into Dutch Creek and to the lodge and sat down for breakfast. And the waitress asked Jack what he wanted, and he looked up and he said, pancake. And we just were like, wow. But he was just so proud of himself. Of course, everybody cheered and jumped up and down. And it was just, what a great moment when he, first time he'd ever ordered his own food, and he said, pancake. And then for, the next 3 days that we were up there, everybody's like, Jack, what do you want for breakfast? So we could hear him say it again.
How can we help the child learn? How can we help the child learn to communicate? How can we help the child understand the concepts that are in his environment? It requires us as the adults in the child's environment to look through a different lens, to create a different frame of mind. Often we go through the day with our to-do list, and we want to check off everything and get it done. And if we want to help the child learn, we can't do that. We have to focus really on the here and now, and what kind of opportunities for learning are inherent in what's going on at the moment, whether what's going on is a rainstorm, or the sun coming out, or a puddle, or oil on the puddle where you see colors, or the rainbow. How can we help the child learn in that moment?
Imagery connected to verbal processes is important. There's been a lot of research showing that we think with images. We remember with images. You begin to connect language to imagery, pictures to words at a conscious level, so that you're bringing in a very concrete sensory experience, believe it or not, and that is visualization. And that can be brought in as you are labeling when the child is 2 and 3 years old and you're walking downstairs.
walking downstairs would be 1, 2, 3, walking with the child. And then you can say, I'm going to picture that when I get at the bottom, I'm going to hop. I can picture I'm going to hop up and down. You can